heard someone talk. Hi.
I said glad.
Sorry, my computer decided to restart and do updates.
Oh dear.
As I was getting the email.
We tried to wait, but now it started, so we are streaming now. Just so you know.
Okay. It's a competition between my work computer and my personal computer to see which one would start first. So, okay, I'm here. I'm listening.
Okay.
Sorry to interrupt. Hi, Lee.
Okay, well, so welcome everyone. Welcome members of the committee. Welcome to anyone from the public who's watching to our June 1st meeting of the Township of South Glengarry Environment Committee. So nice to see everybody on a beautiful 1st of June. Oh my gosh, summer's here. Our first order of business is approval of the agenda. So Crystal was kind enough to share the agenda ahead of time, and I hope everyone had a chance to take a look at it. If there's any additions or changes folks want, please say now. If not, if I could have a mover and a seconder to approve it.
Move it.
Moved by Aidan and seconded by Colleen. Thank you. I'm going to try something different. I'm going to go anyone opposed. Oh, see that no one has to raise their hand. All right, great. So
Okay,
that's carried.
No problem. I'm just opening up the.
Are you opening? Did you
just opening up the agenda? Sorry,
okay.
I look busy.
Oh, so you might be opposed. Okay.
I'm looking for it.
Sorry. Well, we have here. I'll go through it orally for you. So we're gonna do the minutes, and then there's business arising from the minutes, and then we have the presentations from Lee Theodore, who's coming to us from the River Institute, and then Carl Goodwin, hopefully, from the City of Cornwall, and then the township staff are going to give us an update on a number of projects, and then it's
yes.
And then next.
I recall that.
Okay.
Now. Okay.
Okay. So
don't
we're good.
Propose.
Okay, you don't. Excellent. Thank you. All right. So carried. So next one is approval of the minutes of the April 27th, 2021 meeting. So that was also in the package. And did anyone find any changes, modifications, deletions to that? So on that one too, if I could have a mover and a seconder to approve the minutes. Okay, Aidan is moving.
Nobody getting.
Need a seconder. Oh, thank you, Colleen. Okay. Anyone opposed? Oh, we're good. Great. Thank you.
Let me just quickly. Oh, hang on. I found everything.
Okay, good.
Okay. Lee knows that I'm not always like this, right? Right? Yes. Okay. I remember this.
Normally you are prepared.
Yes, no, I'm good. Not opposed.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you. Okay. So great. Any business arising from the minutes?
There was. I guess we'd have. I'll wait till. I think they're going to talk about some of their updates, anyways. So I think I should be fine with that. If I have questions in regards, if it doesn't come up during their update, then I'll bring it up then.
Okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, there's a pretty significant updates on a number of things. I think it'll touch on most of what we normally want updates on. Okay, great. Okay, so then that brings us to our presentations part of our meeting. So it's very exciting for us to have. Did Angie just say wait? I'm not sure. Okay, I don't know if I should. Well, no, she's back. Did you say wait? No, okay. All right.
Don't worry about me. I need my tea.
Okay. All right. Well, starting over. Thank you. So now this is I'm very happy to have Lee Theodore from the River Institute, who is the energy and the voice of the Future Climate Leaders project that has been launched across our region now for several weeks. And I'm very excited that we are part, that our environment committee is part of the network of the dissemination of the information around that project. So thank you very much, Lee, for joining us. And I'm happy to hand it over to you to tell us all about it.
Very good. Now, at this point, am I utilizing my slides or am I doing my elevator pitch? I just want to see how this is going to be set up.
However, I believe you can share if you'd like. It's however you are most comfortable. And I mean, and our meetings are recorded. They are posted on YouTube. So also, if you want to think about how you'd like it to be saved for future folks who might want to take a look at.
I submitted it to a lovely contact on your side. I didn't know if it was going to be included on their end or on my end, but
Okay.
I've got it on my side. So give me 1 second just to flip over and make this appropriate.
And Lee, the committee did receive the PowerPoint, so they should all have an electronic copy. So if you wanted to pull it up, please feel free.
Very good. Host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, let me fix that. I apologize.
No worries.
There you go. You should be able to share now, Lee.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. So a very good day. My name is Lee Theodore. Who I am is not as important as what I do. And what I do is facilitate a project called Future Climate Leaders. Future Climate Leaders is a project delivered by the River Institute. And its intention is to create awareness in the area of SDG, Cornwall, and Akwesasne. And from there, move folks from a place of awareness into a place of action. And then from there, those that are interested, develop them further along the line. Now, wonderful picture of who I am and what I do. This essentially is going to be achieved through 3 vehicles. The first vehicle is going to be a monthly town hall that'll take place once a month with very specific speakers from very specific ranges and backgrounds talking about climate change through their perspective. This will allow people to gather around one central theme and leave with a common sense of information, and hopefully from there start to begin to consider other aspects of their life or other places where climate change may have an impact or relevance to them. And then from there, we are moving ourselves into the second vehicle, which is the website, which is under development. It'll be available a little bit closer to August. And on that website, we're going to be providing people with opportunities to look and examine their behavior. One aspect of the website that we're really interested in is the carbon calculator. So in the realm of information that's presented to us as far as climate change is concerned, there are a lot of facts and figures that are presented. There are a lot of solutions that are presented. There are a lot of opportunities. And so we're going to try and boil that down and keep things into a local frame of reference. And so this website's carbon calculator is going to provide users with that ability to say, what is my slice of the pie? What is the number of emissions that I own? What's my carbon footprint? And utilizing that number, we're going to be able to move people through a pipeline of activities to help them consider how they're going to draw back their activities and behaviors to become better in line with our benchmarks that are set in front of us. So from there, the last item is the third vehicle, which is our workshops that'll happen on the tail end of this project sometime in the fall. The workshops are developed to allow people that are really interested to go through them and get a more in-depth knowledge and get some practical aspects that they can apply in their lives. One such workshop that has received a lot of attention would be an example of the workshop that Dr. Brian Hickey is willing to be part of, which is creating bat houses. And so if we take a step back and we examine this and say, okay, well, what do bat houses have to do with climate change? What I will tell you is it is more of a memento piece for people to have a knock-on effect. So for example, if I was buying a Tesla car, I'd have to install a charger. And in installing that charger, I imagine electricians can be coming in doing that. And there's an opportunity to create efficiencies while that electrician is working on your house. So in that kind of metaphor, what we're trying to do is achieve knock-on effects. So if every day a person were to go home and see their bat house, they're not just thinking about the bats that may be living in that house. They'd be considering the fact that they want the bats around to get rid of mosquitoes. And so if you start thinking about mosquitoes in terms of an environmental aspect, what conditions need to be present for a multitude of mosquitoes to be pestering you? It could be a really wet season as a condition. And so when if a wet season was taking place in such a way that we could take a step back and say, is this normal? Is this not normal? A person's mind begins to wander beyond a bat house and start to think of other contributing factors that would create the conditions for mosquitoes to exist, that therefore create the conditions for them to have a bat house. So not all workshops are going to be looking through this lens. There is a workshop for water quality as well to increase the value and amount of citizen scientists that are in our community. The ultimate aspect of the workshops is to increase the resiliency and capacity of our community to have individuals that are aware of resources, people, and places and spaces where climate change solutions are being applied. So, town halls, websites, workshops. Awareness is where we're going to do our town halls. Action is going to fall to the website, and development's going to happen through the workshops. So this is on the front end. On the back end, there's also activities that are taking place that I'm responsible for. I'm also tasked with the opportunity to speak with elected officials, good stewards within the space, actors and influencers and organizations that are present to help contribute to solutions for climate change within our area. So this is a positive moment for me to be here speaking with you fine folks. Hopefully through this networking opportunity, I'll have an opportunity to be put in front of other individuals in your community to bring forward some of the causes that they're championing or some of the challenges that they may be facing. Now, I'm going to be very, very pragmatic and practical in this definition. Future climate leaders understands the limitations of the solutions that are available and understands the limitations of the scale of this project. It is not my intention or the intention of this project to actually solve all problems to all people everywhere. The measure of the success is how many local people we can have engaged and being aware of what it is that they can be doing in their local community. So on one hand, we could sit here and berate the public with all of the facts and figures that exist right now. But there are many entities, there are a lot of news sources, and there's a lot of opportunity for a lot of information to be coming at people. We don't want to inundate people. We want to bring them closer by bringing them towards action and awareness. So what we are trying to do is making this a local applicable solution. This is a one-year project. At the end of this project, we're hoping to have a very good idea of what the capacity of our area is, who are the people and players, and what are the causes and challenges that we're facing. And hopefully through a network of the people that are working in the same arenas, we can actually have a collective of people moving towards action. One of the most important parts about future climate leaders is it serves to solve a gap insofar as if I was a person that came to your community and asked you about something, like if I asked you where would be a great place to eat, you would definitely direct me to some local restaurant of your choosing. If I was a new immigrant to your community, there would be a federal building or government building that you would direct my energies and activities towards. So when we think of climate change in the space of Eastern Ontario, there isn't a centralized area where a person can begin their journey or enhance their journey. So that is the focus of this project, is to kind of define that space, bring those actors to the fore, and then therefore allow for that recognition to be public. So from there, what can I do, Lee Theodore? So I'm not a genie. I am not a scientist, humbly speaking. I'm a person that is good for community engagement. And so in that regard, what I'm here to do is not to interfere. I'm not here to interject. I'm not here to disrupt any activities that may be taking place. What I'm meant to do is be a link, a resource, a connector of other people in other spheres of places where we can get together as an area, as a community, and say, okay, we'd like to take this activity up. Is there anybody that you're aware of that specializes in this space? So what my job is to do is to connect people with solutions as much as possible where possible. But in no way am I to step in and create any kind of additional work for anybody. I'm here to help. And that's all there is to it. Now, bringing me to what you can do. So we try to make this as easy as possible. The title Future Climate Leaders comes to us as presented by the Government of Canada. And I don't want people to get afraid by the name of Future Climate Leaders. We're not intending on creating a collection of people to go out in the streets and wave flags. What we want people to do is be leaders within their own homes, leaders within themselves, take a step back and examine how their life behaviors and direction is either assisting or detracting from the solutions of climate change. So to you fine folks at home, what can you do? And to you fine folks that are actually hosting me here in this meeting, you can attend the monthly meetings. They take place roughly every third Tuesday of every month. There is a speaker series in terms of having speakers lined up. There is a actual poster that shows you what the breakdown of that. And I believe Angie in the audience has that information as well. If there is an opportunity for presenting information, if there's opportunities for addressing situations, please understand that the River Institute itself, myself within my position, we are not a conservation authority. There's only so much capacity. So this is more of gathering information and connecting people, but we do welcome the opportunity for people to bring environmental issues to us so that we can tabulate that and collect that information, because that information does become important and part of our reporting on the back end. So collaboration, there are a lot of wonderful groups in this space that are already doing wonderful things. I haven't spoken with all of them. I hope that I can, but in the eventuality that I can't, please recognize that our area has some fantastic stewards of the environment. And it is my hope and my goal to create a landscape that you can actually go to a website and see who these groups are and what they do and how it can impact you. Now, finally, the last thing that you can do, and this is pretty much the function, the granular function of this whole project, is how can we encourage you to stop doing one action that may assist in our climate change solutions, or pick up one new habit or behavior that can assist in climate change activities and behaviors. So it's kind of through that lens that we're trying to bring people forward. In my own personal experience, I have found that it is not so much the facts and figures, it is more the personal stories and watching other people go through this process themselves that I have had the best experience in terms of, taking this up as something that's important to me. So I take the time to tip my hat to John and Sue Towndrow. These individuals are almost like an institution in our community, and they would be a prime example of people that I, in my own life, have observed living in line with the environment, and it's not that hard. And so if this project is completed properly, we'll have a number of people that will be considering better ways of living. And at this point in time, I'd like to thank you all for allowing me this opportunity to speak. And since I'm in a municipal environment, I will take the opportunity to point out that we have 9 years to hit our first benchmark of bringing our temperature, our global temperature, below 1.5 degrees Celsius. Now, that is a large level activity that's taking place. November, there is a meeting in Glasgow for the international community to get around to figure out how we're all going to come on board, same page, same time. But that's not the point that I want to make to you. Specific to us here locally, the River Institute is set up as a not-for-profit entity. And through that aspect, they have a very unique ability to apply for funding. And some of the funding does call for not-for-profits to be the point of entry. But once the funding is provided, for-profits such as your organizations and so forth are able to partner with that funding package. So if we can navigate this as a region together, there are entry points that the River Institute will enter into. And if we do this properly, we can come together with demands and solutions, saying that we have a collection of municipalities, a collection of communities. These are the needs that are governing the activities that they're going through, what resources are available. And if we can get everything right, we can get access to more things together as a group. So I'd like to thank each and every one of you for taking the time to allow me to speak. Thank you for your attention. Our next Future Climate Leaders Town Hall is going to take place on June 15th. We're going to be having the esteemed Abraham Francis from the Mohawk Council of Akwesasne having a conversation, and the topic, if my brain isn't foggy, Indigenous relationships with climate change. You're all welcome to it, 7 p.m. virtually from the comfort of your home. And if you can do anything at all, like and share the Future Climate Leaders page. It's at the beginning stage, but any like will help it permeate through to the Facebook ether, that is. So other than that, my name is Lee Theodore. Again, thank you for your time, and enjoy the rest of your meeting. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Lee.
so
I just
much.
forwarded the list of events, like the topics. I just forwarded it to the group here. So, oh, hi, Michael. And I'll also send the link for the next event, the one that I got through email, in case they're not on Facebook, but I'm sure they are. But if they're not, I'll send them the email link that I received from your colleague. I believe it was Pam that sent that to me.
So anyone on the committee have questions for Lee?
It's a good presentation, a lot of valuable resources there, but nothing to add.
Thank you, Aiden.
So Lee, I'm curious, so you have done some events already online. So what kind of participation numbers have you had, or?
Interesting. So if we're going to go for metrics, the night after the first video, we had 500 plus engagement. The video with Mr. Duncan has reached over 2,700 people. So if we're looking at metrics like that, our best metrics are coming out of our video, which is great. So in terms of bodies in chairs sitting down watching it, on the Zoom side for the first one, we had about 42 in the seats. And then on Facebook, I think we had about a dozen. I think it was 13. So it's a small group, which is fine. It'll grow in time. And it's also there as a repository for people to come back to in the future. But overall, it's been encouraging. It hasn't been overwhelming, but there's definitely room for as many people that are interested to come on board.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. Excuse me. I always like metrics and data.
Me too.
So thank you for that. Angie, did you put your hand up for a question, or?
I did the
Hey, Angie.
Hi. So is there anything that you'd like this committee to just reach you outside of here, like any suggestions or anything?
Absolutely.
Are you open to ideas from them, or would you like us to do it as a group?
So I'm not going to force any more work on anybody, because I don't know when I make a request who it falls to and how it's going to work. But what I'd like to find out is a roadmap of sorts, or just this little summary of what you folks are trying to attempt. I know a conversation came up about forest cover in one of my conversations. Landfills is another thing that's been popping up as well. So if there are any conditions for your community that you're concerned about, please bring them to my attention. I can't promise you anything and everything, but what happens is it becomes a part of our body of reporting, and also becomes a body of consideration. I will also say that I don't know yet who it is that I'm going to speak to you. And I've found in the past that there are problem solvers that already exist. So if you present to me something that I'm aware of, and I speak with somebody that specializes in that space, I can bring them forward to your attention, and maybe that can circumvent you guys having to figure out spending 3 months doing something when somebody could spend maybe an hour or two kind of navigating your activities. So I have possibilities, but not promises. But to your question specifically, if you can give me a rough idea of what you folks are facing or what you're interested in doing, then I can work from that position.
Thank you. So maybe Stephanie later, just before the end of the meeting, maybe we can just kind of might form something together for Lee while we're all together.
Because I mean, we do have, like, our committee itself has sort of like bylaws, right, that sort of talk about what's our main mandate in terms of dealing with.
I'll take those bylaws. If there's anything that describes your organization, I would like to have that as well, because again, the public, I've sat on committees, and there's this weird, like, kind of invisible veil of activity sometimes. And sometimes it's as easy as the public walking through the door and being a part of things, but they just don't know where to go. Or if they're trying to get a sense and shape and size of what's actually taking place, they don't know where that information is. So any information that provides a profile of who you are and what you folks are about, that is information that I'd welcome. That has a place on our website for sure.
Okay. Yeah, maybe try, like, in terms of other, like, in terms of more specific, because I mean, I think some of us have some individual interests that, might be more appropriate for us to be sending to you sort of directly, but maybe we could give some thought, like you say, Angie, if there's things specifically as a group, like that our committee are top of mind, that might be relevant. But I think
Okay.
you have touched on some of them. I mean, one of our main focuses here is landfill and waste reduction and improving recycling and reducing, reducing waste overall. That's definitely something that is a main focus for us.
While you folks are in the authority position to make decisions,
But
I
we
lose
make
a lot of
recommendations. We just, the
that-
environment committee
okay.
makes recommendations.
So, that's so perfect. You make recommendations, and that's kind of the position that I'm in. So based on the readings and the opportunities that I'm seeing in other communities, I can make recommendations of what I've seen that has been effective, but it doesn't necessarily mean what's good for the goose is good for the gander. And all you can do is just take it under consideration, and best of case, it actually becomes an applicable solution for your community. So in that sense, what I would say is, if you allow me to make suggestions, I will definitely make suggestions. But again, I'm not an authority. I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist. I'm just an individual who's got access to information. And if it helps, that's the most important thing that I want to contribute in this space.
Well, if you have time, if you want to like hang out with us till the end of our meeting, because
Sure.
I know the township staff is going to be going over through a number of project updates that relate to our committee. So that also might give you a sense of
Yeah, I will stick around.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks again. Thanks again for joining.
You're
us.
welcome. Thank you all.
Okay.
Yep.
So we did have, we were to have another speaker with us, but I don't see them on the attendee list. Crystal, did you have any?
No, and I haven't heard back from Carl, so perhaps we can jump to the next point and see if he joins us, and if not, we can postpone it to the next meeting if he doesn't pop on.
Okay, I have no way to reach him at this time, but I will send him an email, see if he responds. If not, then
Okay.
send him an email to postpone. But I don't see, if he hasn't joined yet, I don't think he'll be here.
Okay. All righty. All right. Well, yeah, I guess then if, maybe he will join us before the end. If not, why don't we move on then to the next item, which was the ongoing projects update. And I wanted to thank you very much, Crystal, for putting together the document, listing.
Yeah, happy to. Okay, so we put this report together, Chris and myself and Kelly, and we wanted to give everyone a kind of a high-level overview of what has been going on in terms of projects in the township. So the first one you'll see there is the SD&G Butterfly Way project. So we partnered with the Butterfly Way project to educate and encourage our residents to create pollinator patches to help the bees and the insects and bats and hummingbirds. So we recruited our friends at Marlin's Orchards to help us create these pollinator kits. You'll see in the agenda the actual document with the list of, pollinator plants. So they were gracious enough to accept our registrations to pre-order these kits. So residents would pay $20 and they registered through our website, and it sold out in less than 24 hours. So originally we had 50 kits, and the next morning when we came into the office, we had 55 registrants. So we reached out to Marlin's and they were able to bump up the amount of kits they were able to prepare. So everyone who registered will be picking up those kits this weekend for planting. So that was a really good news story. And we were really, really happy with the participation on that one. The next initiative that we rolled out was Pitch In Week. Many of you participated in that. So that ran from April 26th to May the 7th. And we ended up having 33 group registrations and 155 individual participants. So by registering for Pitch In Week, they received gloves, safety vests, and garbage bags. And the township, we got a few calls to, along Kings Highway just outside of Martintown, they had several bags of garbage that they picked up. So we were able to deploy some of our staff to go pick those up as well. So that was a really well-received initiative, and we were really happy with the results. And it's certainly something we'd like to do year after year. I think people were really eager to get out and do something good, especially this year. So it was very well received. The next item is the food cycler. So that anticipated staff report will be on this on the next council meeting agenda for June the 7th. So we will be recommending, staff will be recommending a subsidy option for food cycler. So you guys should definitely tune in on the council meeting night on June 7th to see that report. And at the next meeting, we'll share it with the Environment Committee as well. Waste composition study. This is one that I think comes up every meeting. So CIF and Stewardship Ontario has provided, has done 2 weeks of waste composition auditing. So they did one in the fall, they did one in the winter. There's one happening right now, which would be considered the spring study, and there's going to be one more in the summer. So at that time, once those 3 reports are done, we will have the compiled data for the whole year. The CIF does provide, they will provide us with an annual summary report. However, they're not going to make any recommendations for us. Okay, so we're going to get the raw data at the end of the 4 audit weeks. And at that time, that will give us an idea of what is going to our landfills. So that will be likely in August or September. That will be the fall composition study. And by the time they get that data to us, it might be October. And then the last update we have for you is just to let you know that there is an information report going to council on June 21st for input on the RFP process for our garbage and recycling. So this will give our council an opportunity to discuss bag limits, recycling frequency, garbage, how often garbage is picked up, things like that, before we go out to tender. So that council will have their opportunity to let administration know what they want to see in our RFPs and how that would change from what we're doing right now. All right, so I think that's it. If there's any other updates that anyone's looking for, though, we can certainly try to answer them.
I'm just curious for the for those pollinator kits.
Yes.
Where was that? I totally missed out on it, and I would have,
Okay.
been there front row. How is it? How is it relayed to the public?
Social media, and it was on, I believe, on our website too.
Okay.
Those were the ways that we advertised it.
Okay, I guess I need to go on social media more. I missed out on it, but it's fantastic. I think it's great that it is in less than 24 hours.
Yeah, so it's I think the fact that there's so many people who are so interested in participating is probably more of an issue. Maybe if we do it again, we would need more kits, it looks like.
Definitely. Guys, I think if we would have kept the registration open, because once we got to our max, we didn't, Kelly, feel free to jump in, but we didn't want to keep it open and have to go back and tell people, sorry, we've reached our capacity. That could be another reason why you didn't see it, Angie.
Yeah.
It happened so quickly.
And just to jump in and add on that, Crystal, if you don't mind.
Not at all.
So the partnership with Marlins was certainly one way of participating in the program, but it does not, it certainly doesn't preclude anyone else from participating. There's a list of all the different types of plants that are recommended, and we encourage anybody who may not have obtained one of those kits who still wants to participate. You certainly can head down to any garden center or anywhere and take a look at that list and acquire those plants and certainly participate. Because yeah, it's a great initiative and clearly a lot of interest from the public. So we'll have to plan for more kits next time around.
No, that's great. If only we could find some kind of initiative related to landfill that people were excited about. That would sell out in 24 hours.
We could have flour covered biodegradable bags. I don't know.
Oh no. Something, but the interest is there, so it's good to know that interest is there. We just have to find something that excites them, like this did in relation to garbage.
Yeah, well, it's a very good point, Angie. Any other questions for Crystal? I have a question. So when it comes to the waste composition study, which I'm very interested in, clearly, because I keep asking about it. So now that it's clear that it's like every season they're doing a review, like, are we going to be getting interim data, or can we get interim data, or do we only get the data once it's all said and done? Because I feel there's so much happening right now on this file, that we need that interim data, I think, to inform some of these other decisions or recommendations that we could be recommendations here, or even decisions of the council that we need that information for.
What I can do is I can reach out to Stewardship Ontario and find out if we can share the data before the end of the study. And if we can, then we could forward it to the committee for review, I guess. I don't know, Kelly, if that's procedurally correct to be able to do that, but that's an option. If I don't see why we wouldn't be able to look at the data before.
Yeah. Well, if you could look into that, because again, I think
Absolutely.
This is really valuable information. And it's linked to so many other things that we're talking about in my mind.
Quick question, Crystal.
Sure.
The info report to council for the garbage and recycling, what's the date on the contract renewal? Is it January of next year?
I believe it's December 31st.
December.
We want the RFP out by the end of, no later than the end of August. So we're starting to we're just preparing for that. And one of the major things is we want council's feedback on what they'd like to see.
So I would presume what council wants to see would definitely be covered by the audit, as Stephanie mentioned. But also I presume we would have to be considering of the DFA report that everybody's waiting on, phase 3 and 4 of that, which the timing on this might be pretty unfortunate as far as, trying to make any changes and trying to renew a contract. It's going to be a bit of a trick. It might get a little tight there. Okay.
I jump in on that one. So the CEOs have been talking about the timing and how it doesn't necessarily align. And I haven't had the chance to look up what my understanding is. In South Dundas, they've within their recent tender for their garbage and recycling contract, they've put a clause in there pertaining to the waste management study that the counties is leading, that you referenced, Mike, so that there would be an out in there, an in or an out, depending on what happens,
Interesting.
So, we're going to look at that closely as a municipality, and certainly I think bring that to council. The difficulty is, when you're talking about the dollar amounts for garbage and recycling, that when you're getting over $1 million and then you just keep renewing and renewing without going to tender, it's not really what we should be doing. We were anticipating waiting because we thought the study by the counties would have been accelerated further than it is now, or further ahead, but they're not. So, you know, yeah, we're kind of in a spot.
Tim, do you?
And I think there was also an expectation that the recycling information, like, you know, the full producer responsibility piece also would be more clear.
Yeah.
And that's been back up again now too, from my understanding. Out of curiosity, sorry, did you say silt dundas?
Silt dundas, yeah.
Did anybody mention, the CAO there mention if that affected their price? I would presume if there's an out clause that it would kind of.
It isn't closed yet. I believe it's just gone out. I don't think it's come back. So, but yeah, I need to look into that. We all need to.
Yeah, well, this is it. I would presume that would be a bit of a well, not a bit of a pretty big negative, actually, potentially for any contractor that's willing to sign a contract, right? If they have this potential loss when they're, you know, trying to set some numbers, that'll be interesting. I'll be very interested to see what happens there.
Unless you do it as 1 year, 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and then it would go to the end of a year, maybe.
Yep.
But you're right, garbage trucks and recycling trucks and staff are not cheap.
No, that's a lot of budgeting. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions on those staff updates? Thanks again, Crystal, for putting that together. That was, I think, really helpful, and that there was definitely a lot of topics there that, you know, that hadn't been discussed at, you know, in the committee. So I think everyone really appreciated to hear more about those, you know, the butterfly project, the pitch-in week, which was, yeah, it was a lot of fun. I participated in the pitch-in week. So yeah, we had a lot of fun. Oh, I saw a lot of people like myself who dragged their kids out to do it with them. And it wasn't actually so bad. They don't really have to drag them. They found it mildly entertaining what they found sometimes in the ditch. So
I found people were more excited to get their own safety vest. That really excited the kids, it seemed. So yeah, it was interesting.
Easily excitable during pandemic time, eh?
Yeah. Well, we're allowed out of the house. I'm out of the house. I'm walking in front of other houses. Yeah, no, it was great.
Like a free yard sale.
Okay. Consider that if there's no other questions for Crystal, we didn't have any new business items, but did someone, based on what we heard, was there Angie? I think that covered most of our regular questions.
Yeah, so I was just wondering, like for Lee, did you want me to forward him our our mandate, the document that we completed last year? Can't remember the proper title of it. Like, it's public information, that.
Oh, it is, yeah. Bylaws, terms of reference. Yeah,
Okay.
Sure. I mean, or Crystal.
Or if
Crystal will have
Crystal
the
can, yeah.
Yeah, I'd be happy to do that, Angie.
Mm-hmm.
Probably easier for me to grab
Perfect.
it than you have to look around for it.
Look for it, yeah. In my numerous emails, yes. Okay, should there be anything else then that we forward to him, other than the stuff that we've been talking about, which is tree canopy, and well, I don't think we have, but the community's interested in it. Landfill, anything else should we add to it? Other things that we've kind of touched on? Oh, composting, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like, if it's our minutes from our meetings are not very long. I mean, that's another thing, is we could forward on like minutes from previous meetings. You know, there's not really that many of them, and they're not super long documents, so that also could give them if it would, like, you know, for like on the food cycler, like that would include the presentation on the food cycler, and
it would give him some contact information too.
Yeah, definitely.
So is there anything, Crystal, you think that you have that you can forward to him that will show what we've been discussing in the past, I guess, couple of years?
Yeah, if you want, I can, along with the terms of reference for the Environment Committee, I can also send them maybe our minutes from the last, I don't know, if the last few months or, 5 or 6 minute meetings or minutes rather, just to give them an idea. Like Stephanie said, they're not overly long, and it would probably give an overview of what we're discussing at all of our meetings.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, I can do that.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Okay. So next meeting, we want to try and plan when we can.
Sure.
Now, I am sad that we didn't get to hear from Carl Goodwin from the City of Cornwall. I was very interested in hearing about the co-digestion project.
I can also check with, if he's unable to, I can check with Indra, who's his partner in that. So from Ottawa. So I know he's also very familiar with it too. I can ask Indra as well if Carl is unable to.
Because I think in terms of things that we would, I mean, that's something I'd like to hear of in terms of things that, are sort of still open that I'd like to hear more about.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. And I think we probably want to, what was it at the beginning? We were mentioning that we would be seeing, we'll be able to see a copy of the staff report that's going to council for Food Cycler. We can see it after it's gone to Food Cycler, and the RFP for the discussion, the info report that's going to council on June 21st. So probably best, I'm thinking out loud here in terms of when it would make sense to have another meeting, probably after those things come out, but that puts us into July sometime.
Do we have any homework, Stephanie, to do before the next meeting? So
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. So if we do these, so in July, we're getting into the middle of summer here, but
okay, we can't really go anywhere.
Not yet, anyways. Soon, we're getting there. So if the Tuesdays are working, like we could do the Tuesday, July 6th, Tuesday, July 13th.
I can do both of those.
13th, just that way, if there's anything else at council on the 5th, we get that in there as well.
Yeah, we could.
But I'd be very curious to, I'm definitely not going to promise to tune into a council meeting because I have far too many of them these days. But I'd be very curious to hear what council has to say about the report, what the feedback is on the garbage and recycling report for the report that goes in on the 21st.
Right. Well, I will try to remember, and I can try to send you this, like, here's the YouTube link and look at it starting at this time so that you don't have to go through the whole meeting. Okay. So, all right. So that means we'll go for the 6th then, July 6th.
Sure.
Okay.
Is there anything, Crystal, that South Glengarry can do to encourage people to attend these town halls? Like, is there anything you can, like, South Glengarry can do on their end to help promote this? Because he is, looking out into SD&G. I don't know, maybe sharing something, or because I know I was at the first town hall. We did have actually quite a few people from, not quite a few, maybe like a few people from South Glengarry who were really interested and gave a lot of feedback. But I could see they want more participation in their town halls. And I think that the people that did attend from South Glengarry were very happy with it and asked lots of questions.
Yeah, I think that's something we can share on our social media platform for sure.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Could forward it along to the county communications person as well and get him to post some things too for the county one.
Great, thank you.
Great suggestion.
And Michael, you're with North Glengarry?
Yeah, I was going to say same thing. We can have it sent to Natalie, and Natalie can share it as well. Definitely.
Perfect. Okay. So I know for sure that a lot of it's social media right now, but there is an email invite that goes out, and I can check in more with the email invite if that's preferred for some people instead of social media.
I think the social media would just be a really good way to help spread the word for them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think, unless there's anything else, I think we're ready to adjourn. And well, actually, who will
Adjourn?
follow? Is there, can any?
Oh, sorry,
Well, wait.
no.
I was going to say, who can follow up with Carl and see if he could join us on the July 6th? Is that?
I was gonna say I just sent him like an email earlier saying you're around or would you like to postpone? So I can just respond to that email and ask him about that. Unless you want to reach out directly, maybe better come from maybe both of us.
Yeah, I've emailed him
Since
too.
he is my coworker.
Yep. You know what, Angie, that's fine. I did send him an email too, just at the beginning of the meeting.
Okay.
So I'll follow up with him tomorrow to see if he'd be available for the July 6th meeting.
Okay.
Okay.
And if not, like I said, there's a backup. I can ask if his partner can do it.
Perfect.
Okay, great. Thank you. All right. So on that one, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Angie, do I have a seconder?
Nobody wants to go home?
Oh, Aiden. Aiden's ready to go home.
Oh, he is home, but I guess he's ready to go to bed.
I was gonna say, we're having so much fun and we're ending earlier than usual, so no one wants to. They're like, "What? It's over already?" All right, so
no, already.
All in favor to adjourning? We can do all in favor this time. Okay, great. All right, thanks everybody.
My apologies for my tardiness.
That's okay. I was late too, so.
Her late appearance is
you.
a bit more momentum than yours. You kind of slipped in quietly.